Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's touched on second and change. All of a
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's touched on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Radical Race Series and welcome to Watkins Glen for the third out of the first four races being held over in the United States. It's time for round 4 here in season 2 of 2024. My name's Ewan Leary alongside James Parfitt here for the next round of the championship. Another couple of races coming your way tonight. 10-lap sprint race followed by a 16-lap feature a little bit later on. A good entry for this one as well, James. Looking forward to another iconic circuit of the Radical Race Series. Haven't been here for a while, but it comes off the back of a couple of great races at Road Atlanta, somewhere we have been on a fair few occasions, and somewhere we'll no doubt be going again because it produced two good races last week. Hoping for 2 more here this week.
I think with John McCutcheon taking the win in race 1, Mike Bousson taking the win in race 2, it's been good. I've enjoyed the racing this season, and I think Road Atlanta was just Road Atlanta. There was lots of chess games being played on the final lap down the back straight, and but Watkins Glen's a different entity, but we've still got that run into the bus stop, and we've seen it before with Mike sticking it in the wall while he was leading as well. So I think this could be interesting and seeing who will come out on top, and know who would, because at the moment Luke Maxwell, Graham Brown and Simon Edwards share the top spot. Lost. O'Leary?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're back again. I didn't think you'd stop talking, but you had. So sorry about that. Yeah, we don't like to mention that Mike stuck it in the wall here at the bus stop, but he did.
Why can we not mention that Mike stuck it in the wall?
Well, no.
He did stick it in the wall. He was in the lead and he went and binned it.
He did. Finally, he broke the duck though of continuously throwing away potential race wins to actually putting one through last week, if you were with us, and it was a fantastic win for him. Let's see what that's done to the championship standings, because it has helped him, Mike Bousson. He's up to 3rd now behind James Barry and Luke Maxwell, who again exchanged pretty much identical results. They're still only separated by a point at the top of the standings. Paul Clark and George Gonzaga are in the top 5, with John McCutcheon moving up to 6th after appearing in only his second race so far this season. Damien G is 7th ahead of James Ritchie. Abdul Al-Amri, the debutant, is 9th ahead of Paul LeMay, who rounds out the top 10. Paul Crabb fell out of that top 10 last round, and he's now 11th, with Robert Woodward in 12th. Michael LeMay is in 13th position, and then we get down to those who were only here for one race event. Graham Brown, although it says he's been here for 2, he didn't really participate in one of them. He finished last in both races, so he's 14th. Simon Edwards has only been at 1 so far, and he's going to have to recover from 15th. Joseph Emmett is down there as well as David Walter, Phil Glover, Seth Brown, David Rolliston, David Beasley, and Stuart Geddes as well, who is at the bottom of the standings, having only been at one race so far this season. Hope to see a few more of those throughout the season again. And we will be seeing a lot of those who are on your screen right now on the grid here today as well, because it's a very nice entry indeed. Got to up towards 20 drivers. Maybe by the start of the race we will have a field of 20 to begin this race at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, John McCutcheon jumped into the session. There he is. The Scotsman, of course, heads up late. Gets his qualifying lap done as well. We got 2 problems, right, as far as I can see. One is this wall on the left-hand side, and I mean that in the nicest possible way going into the bus stop, right? They've got to get closer, and John, you probably could get a little bit closer if you felt brave enough to get a little bit closer. You can get a little bit closer to the wall. And the other one is going up through the S's. No, the S's can be a bit of a parking lot when somebody slides out, and it has happened. So I'm hoping that we don't see that parking lot environment and we do manage to make through all cleanly without any issue. But Luke Maxwell's got the first sector's purple on the board now. So let's see what happens here with Luke, and hopefully he goes on. It looks like livery has not loaded. Let's don't go into a state of panic on that one, because this livery was there a minute ago.
I thought he had changed it. That's what I was all-knowing about, because we've learned Luke Maxwell's livery so well for the last year or 2 years nearly, that I would have a real hard time identifying him if he changed it. So, yeah, we'll get that sorted. Graham Brown goes fastest in the 3rd sector as those times start to come in. Luke Maxwell, as you say, still fastest in the 2nd. Took that pretty early, and there he is. The black and yellow back again. And I, for one, am pleased about that. We'll be able to identify him a little bit easier over the course of the day. First times will come in then. It's a pretty quick lap around here. High speeds, high downforce required on these radicals. As Graham Brown will set the benchmark. Can it be beaten immediately by Luke Maxwell? It certainly will. Although Brown has been doing well in the last couple of weeks, I've got to say, especially in practice and qualifying in 1 lap speed. He has been very quick, although not quick as Luke Maxwell. Paul Clark went fastest in the 1st sector, but unfortunately the rest of the lap wasn't good enough from him, and he goes into 5th position. Not many other purple sectors actually being spread across the field here. It's a little bit all about Luke Maxwell here, who's 2 tenths quicker than the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's flying away at the moment, 1:39.602. So, and just as we say that, it gets it all a little bit wrong. Paul Crabb is there as well, the Irishman on the track once more. So he's doing a great job sitting down in 7th place at the moment. Everybody's on a green run, excuse me, including John McHutchinson. So he'll get a time on the board as well this time around. So going to be thick and fast and very close, and we'll just have to see how they get on here.
Simon Edwards goes to 4th place with a 1:40.0. Was wondering where he was, and here he is, finally making an appearance to defend his title once again in the Radical Race Series. 6-time champion, of course. If you've not been with us before, I'd highly recommend you do join us regularly on a Thursday evening. It's such wonderful racing in the Radical Race Series, not to be missed by any means. John McCutcheon has missed it on a couple of occasions, unfortunately, and he's back again, late edition once again, but he's here as he goes over the line. 2nd place. He went very wide through the final corner as well, so you'd imagine there's time still in that car. you would think. Graham Brown goes over the line. That might be an improvement from him. Well, it's a very minor one. Very, very minor one, actually. He's still over 2 tenths behind Maxwell. LeMay closes in. That's a good time from Paul LeMay, who gets onto the front row. Mike Bousson goes over the line. Can't improve despite a purple second sector. It's proving tricky on this second round of times as Paul Clark moves into the top 5.
Yeah, we've also got Simon Edwards sitting down in 7th at the moment as well. I'm sure he'll be looking to improve on his time. We've got a few others there. James Barry's got some greens on the board. He's going over the line now. Puts it on pole. 139.566 did James Barry. What's Simon Edwards going to do? He's got 2 more corners left here at Watkins Glen. He's going to get about another 2 laps in at the most. And we'll have to see how he gets on as he's got some greens on the board as well. How's he going to do as he comes over the line? Simon Edwards, 139.7, puts himself in the top 3.
Inside of 2 tenths behind James Barry, who is the pole sitter right now. Look at the list of names we've got on the left-hand side of your screen, by the way. It's such an extensive list here today, and a great one too. A new name, though, as well. James Chapman is here. 19th at the moment for him, getting up to speed, I would argue, in his debut in the I believe debut in the series. Anyway, he joined the server the other day. Did James, trying to work out exactly when? Earlier this week on Sunday, that's last week, isn't it? On Sunday, he joined the server, so he is a new driver to the Radical Race Series, and we've been getting a steady stream of new drivers actually into the field, which is a great thing. Actually, helps keep the field nice and healthy and nice and strong as well. But he's currently running in 19th position on his debut in the series.
Yeah, I think it's always good when you get more people in, and James is here as well. We did have a brief chat with James earlier on as he jumped in last week as well. So he's obviously new in there. See what he can do and how he gets on. You have to be a little bit cleaner coming around turn 9, but it is a tricky corner, that braking uphill, turning left, so he's got to be a little bit cleaner coming through that. Simon Edwards has got green in sector 2. He's going to come over the line. Seth Brown's got greens. Phil Jocelyn, purple sector for Simon Edwards. No real improvements toward him. Seth Brown should be an interesting one as he's showing pace at times as well. Very sporadic. But when he's on it, he's got the pace to be there.
Yeah. As we see John McCutcheon going quickly now, he is only 2 and a bit tenths away from pole position with James Barry, who he's had run-ins with in the past, of course. He's going to be looking to overhaul him here in qualifying at Watkins Glen. He might have one more chance after this one too, if he's quick. Another great final sector from John McCutcheon, who is back. A 139.3 puts him on pole by over 2 tenths of a second.
Yeah, he does. Absolutely. A lap from the Scotsman. Going to be interested with him and James Barry alongside each other on the front row. As we know, there's been a little bit of ta-ta-ta in previous times. John McCutcheon getting a nice little draft at the moment off Seth Brown here, so he's just got to rely on Seth getting through the bus stop cleanly. Coming out the other side, he's going to want to try and get past him as he, if John McCutcheon is able. No real improvement for Luke Maxwell. The green is next to 3, but whether or not that's improved his time up further than a 139.5, what he needs to get. Did he go into second place there? No, 139.7. Same with Simon Edwards. Well, no real improvements for him. So, unfortunately for them, could be John McCutcheon on pole position going around the final lap.
Very much could be. He's hoping so and thinks so as well, because he's in pit lane. And Simon Edwards will join him there very soon. James Barry and Luke Maxwell, the only ones out there at the moment who can really do anything about that. There is Luke Maxwell bouncing over the curbs. He's at least, that will be an off track, you would have thought. And that will be the end of his session. James Barry goes back to the pit lane, and so this looks to be it. Mike Bousson out there at the moment. This is not where you'd expect to see Mike necessarily, although he is within a second of pole position from John McCutcheon right now. Mike Bousson down in 9th position. There is the checker flag. Seth Brown got in there very late, didn't he? He just jumped up, and we'll get a note on where he is when we run through this starting grid for the first race of the evening at Watkins Glen. It's Tom Cutson and James Barry on the front row with multiple time champions Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards on the next row. Paul Clark and Paul LeMay are sharing row 3. Ahead of Graham Brown, strong again ahead of George Gonzaga. It's Mike Bousson, last week's feature race winner, in 9th ahead of two-time champion Paul Crabb. It's Michael LeMay and David Beasley then on row 6, followed by 13th place Seth Brown, who got in that time very, very, very late on. Jamie Bird alongside him. He's not qualified so well, so he might do well. Jamie Bird doesn't often start well if he's at the front. Phil Glover and James Ritchie share row 8 with Robert Woodward and Damien G on row 9. Then it's Phil Justin and James Chapman to round out the 20 cars on the grid. Good to have all 20 on here, and a very close run thing at the front of the field. Lots of drivers who can win this race.
Yeah, there is. There's any one of the top 5, really, in hindsight. McCutcheon, Barry, Maxwell, Edwards, Clark, maybe even Paul LeMay. He can just stay clean here for Paul. He might be in with a shout as well. So we're just waiting for Mike and James Ritchie. Mention much about James Ritchie. He's down in 16th place at the moment. Probably not where he wants to be at this current time either for him. So he's going to have to do some work. But top 10 reverse, the top 10 spot is really where the people behind that have got to aim for.
It is. As we get the lights on now, it's the third of 3 American rounds to open out this season. Race 1 at Watkins Glen underway. And it's John McCutcheon from the front row who gets a very good start. James Barry not so much alongside him. Luke Maxwell will look up the inside but can't get down there in towards turn number 1. They'll hope to tuck into line very quickly and keep things clean on the way up the hill. We know that there can be big pile-ups over the crest here, so let's hope for a clean start. It's high downforce cars, of course, and so it is possible to go side by side up there, but Paul Clark probably shouldn't have done. He goes backwards as Paul LeMay overtakes him. He tries to take Simon Edwards as well, but can't quite do it on the way into the bus stop chicane. It's a clean start from the front 3 and a clean start for everybody over the top of the hill for the first time until we get to the bus stop chicane where Phil Glover and Seth Brown have gone off.
Yeah, they've had a little bit of coup de grace as these two, and off goes Seth Brown. Is going to be the first one. I think Phil's going to follow him through. Seth bounced the curb. Phil may have actually got help there. Unfortunately, I think that may have something to do. Oh, yeah. Jamie Bird goes on the grass, doesn't stop it, comes along and takes the back end of Phil out, unfortunately. Looks like he's, unfortunately for Phil, not had a good time. John McCutcheon leading the way, but there was a big old block thrown at Paul LeMay there from Simon Edwards. Paul got an absolute barnstorming run up through the S's. He come out over the top of the hill. Edwards saw him coming, threw a block and a half at him and just said, nope, you are not coming through, because he would have got both of them by the time he got to the bus stop.
Yeah, very possibly, and so he had to do that. Didn't do it necessarily too late, I don't think. Simon Edwards, he was within his rights, I think, to throw the block that he did, but it was very much prevented LeMay from getting anywhere.
You watch
look at it.
Yeah, this is the run up.
Yeah, this is the run. So, yeah, he doesn't really move the car at all. Well, he moves it slightly, but all in good time, and it just blocks LeMay's opportunity to actually get down the inside there. So, nothing wrong with that at all. Just Simon Edwards protecting the inside line and protecting 4th place.
Yeah, he is. James Barry's leading the charge on John McCutcheon with Luke Maxwell. Edwards has gone off. Off goes Simon Edwards, unfortunately. He's bounced the curb. A little bit careful there, coming back onto the track, but he has come on and he's now down in 9th. He would have bounced the curb on that one, unfortunately for him, and probably round about here for Simon Edwards as he goes off the side of the circuit. But yeah, in hindsight, great battles going on. James Barry, Luke Maxwell.
Yeah, that was it on the way down towards the toe of the boot, now into the heel. Called the boot, of course, because it looks like a boot from the air, in case you needed clarification. And that's the heel, and now we're sort of going up the shin and out off of the well, not the shin, what's the back part of your leg called? Calf.
Generally I call it turn 9 the ankle, Because
that's a good idea, yeah. Okay.
We've got toe hill. We might as well take it up to the ankle there as well. And they do spin and twist a lot.
True, yeah. So anyway, turn 9 universally. But anyway, that was the battle though between James Barry and Luke Maxwell. It was Maxwell trying to force the issue, couldn't do it, and couldn't get through. So that's allowed John Cutson a bit of a gap actually. Cutson went a little bit wide through turn 6, and so just gave up a little bit of time in all of that. But he's gained that in a battle that ensued almost immediately afterwards. They're still in the slipstream though, Barry and Maxwell, and so they're always going to be in with a shout here. As long as they've got the slipstream of John McCutcheon, he's going to find it very difficult to get away.
Yeah, he is, and this circuit is renowned that if they can stay within a certain, I think it's around about half a second, 6/10 of John McCutcheon, they will make gains on him down the straights, and they will be able to utilise that draft. You can see it happening now. He's now got it back down to 4/10. George Gonzaga's finding himself in a nice little ding-dong. Simon Edwards looks like he's just got to slow down, and he's gone down again into 11th as Simon Edwards. So he's sitting down 11th behind James McRitchie, who's up 6 places. Michael LeMay, who's down 1, and Jamie Bird, who's up 1, obviously was involved in that little incident with Phil Glover. But Mike and George going at it once again, and they're still battling away as they're coming into the Universal Turn 9.
Yep, they are. And yeah, Simon Edwards really needs to get a move on here. Absolutely has to get into that top 10, you would argue, if he wants to have any success this evening. It's not going to be sprint race success, but he might as well try and get himself some feature race winnings if he can. But the front 3 staying very close. James Barry has sort of pulled Luke Maxwell back on terms here with John McCutcheon, who's still leading the field. Paul LeMay not able to stay with them anymore. It's about the front 3 in the slipstream here at Watkins Glen. This can happen. It can be difficult to get away at this venue because of the slipstream and because of all of this. Look at that, very wide from McCutcheon, trying to break the slipstream, but the distance is so much further than that on the inside. It's given James Barry a chance to go down the inside. A half look. He doesn't commit to it into such a fast turn.
No, I think he would have been crazy. He was on the wrong line going in. It was too tight to the inside to commit to an inside move. And I think if he's going to take it, he needs to be well alongside by the time he gets up through the S's and over the brow onto the start of the run. So he needs to be alongside a lot earlier than that. He was too far back, and jeopardising your line going in is probably not the easiest thing for him to do. James McRitchie has just been passed by Simon Edwards, so Edwards is now back up into 9th place. And Damien G further down with Phil Jocelyn as they're continuing to have a little bit of ding-dong all the way through the field. So these guys scrapping it out once more and still fighting away here. Edwards is still under attack from McRitchie, though McRitchie not giving up.
Saw Paul LeMay off there, I'm afraid, through the bus stop chicane. He's now down in 17th position. Unfortunately, adding to the list of drivers who have gone off at this turn, which is now at 3 in this opening race. Here's how it happened. It's over that first bump there. He slides, and doesn't quite avoid the wall. I think he was just gassing it up there slightly to try and spin the car around at sort of 360 or 180 rather than trying to sideways himself into the wall, if you like, and unfortunately that has been the outcome. He's smacked the wall. We'll see what damage he's got, but in a way it doesn't really matter because he's so far away from everywhere he needs to be. Look at McCutcheon again here, breaking the slipstream on the back straight, going towards the bus stop chicane again.
Yeah, he's got to go in and just nail it every single time. He's got to try and keep him as far back as he can. I'm not saying they would want to have a go at going side by side into the bus stop, but I can tell you what, coming out, if you carry some extra speed, you're going to be in well of a good spot to be able to make that move going around the outer loop. So for John, he's got to be able to break that too. Is swerving left to right going to be something that's probably going to be argued? Absolutely. Do we generally say one move? Absolutely. But it seems to be the common thing of swerving left and right to try to avoid it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem personally with waving around to break the slipstream, particularly, especially in a situation like this. It's more dangerous when there's someone right behind you and you're trying to actually block them, I think, is the real problem. But there we go. No stewards' decisions to report, by the way, on that subject from 1 week ago at Road Atlanta, which is a stark contrast from what we saw in the last season's race at Road Atlanta, if you remember. There were plenty of things to talk about and talk of at Road Atlanta in terms of incidents. Not the case this time around. Either stewards have not necessarily got round to incident watch, or there haven't been any for the last 3 weeks, or 2 weeks I should say, 2 races, because Laguna Seca was the last time we saw anything applied, although there were 3 or 4 drivers that day who actually got something. Meanwhile, Luke Maxwell closes in on James Barry, looks for the inside. Barry in the unenviable decision here to either go with John McCutcheon, find the slipstream, or take the inside line, protect the ideal line towards the chicane. Well, he probably should have chosen the latter, because Luke Maxwell's gone through as Simon Edwards is in the wall with Paul Crabb as well. What has gone on here on the back straight?
Oh, man. Crabb's coming over.
Oh, goodness me. That's a huge accident. To be honest, I thought Simon Edwards was actually getting into the side of Paul Crabb there, trying to get the side draft, which is... look at Crabb's wheel there. He's only turning right there for me. And that's all you can do when you are on the right. Paul Crabb didn't do anything wrong. We'll see what Simon Edwards' view says. He's turning right. I know there's a corner, but it continues on into the straight, and it's caused a monumental accident.
Yeah, it definitely is. The only good thing about this is they can get up out there, see him and walk around. Would they have been able to do that if we were sitting in real life at this moment in time? As Phil Jocelyn, Damien G still going for a little bit of a humdinger down here, going into the bus stop. No, they're not going into the bus stop actually. They're going round turn 8, which is the hill. So these two still scrapping it out at the back of the order. Jamie Bird has just gone up the inside of Michael LeMay, who's just come back at him. So Michael LeMay again trying to hold on. Jamie Bird's got the inside. Is he going to make it round the last corner? He's not this time. He's got to settle back in once again. But McCutcheon, Maxwell and Barry still flying out of the front as Bird goes alongside Michael LeMay. Surely he's going to be through this time. He is. And in the background we saw Michael Bruce on a take away from Robert Woodward there as well. So great little four-way developing down here in the mid-pack.
Yeah, double battle in the midfield, and it's going to continue up over the hill. These guys are single file. Clark and Brown are close into the bus stop, and Paul Clark hangs on just about. They were side by side, in fact. He's 3 wide further behind. Jamie Bird on the very inside. He'll stay ahead of Michael LeMay, Mike Booson, and at the very sight of it, Robert Woodward has gone off on his own. So he wasn't involved in the 3 wide, but did lock up and miss the corner on the way towards the bus stop. Michael LeMay seemingly with a slowdown penalty, maybe not actually. Maybe just got overtaken there, and he's down to 10th now.
Yeah, they started, Robert Woodward did go off, but there was a 3 wide involved in it right beforehand. I'm just trying to go back further enough here to have a look. As this is where it all starts at the beginning. We did say they were swapping places, and we saw that here. We're now going to watch the 3 wide. I don't know if Robert Woodward just missed his braking point, or he just got it all completely wrong. And I've got a funny feeling missed his braking point here, did Robert Woodward, and ended up pulling himself at the back. You see the 3 wide developing at the front there. And these guys are going 3 wide now. Here comes Robert Woodward. I think generally he just gets a little bit distracted by what goes on, just manages to avoid it and misses his braking point. But John McCutcheon, Luke Maxwell, James Barry still going at it on lap 8.
Yep, that was James Barry going quicker again here and maybe placing himself well for a final lap challenge here, at least a final few laps challenge. It's time for the lead to change as Luke Maxwell gets to the outside. John McCutcheon's going to hold the inside though and doesn't let him have it that easily, and the race leader continues heading the field, and it's James Barry who's making moves around the outside of the outer loop, and he goes through into second place. In fact, Luke Maxwell slows dramatically here on this 8th lap of the race. He may well be resigned now to 3rd position with 2 laps to go. McCutcheon may have a gap that he can take to the line.
Yeah, he may do though. He's got about a second. I can tell you one man who hasn't, and that's Paul Clark. He's got Graham Brown closing in on him. They are one of the closest battles apart from Damien G and Phil Jocelyn, who are still having a good old ding-dong down in 14th and 15th at the moment as they're continually to fight it out. Those guys are coming into turn 6. We're on our way down in turn 8. Graham Brown and Paul Clark, they're just not giving each other any time there. But you can see that one little move, what it's done to the top three. They've gone between, I don't know, 6 tenths between the three of them. They're now nearly 2.1. So it's played a massive part, and Luke Maxwell there must have got a slow down on the exit.
Yep, it seems that way for Luke Maxwell, who is third and may well stay there for the remainder of this race now. 6 tenths of a second the gap between Barry and McCutcheon. In fact, James Barry still gained 0.08 of a second despite slowing down so much in the bus stop chicane because he had to. He had Luke Maxwell right in front of him on a strange line. He couldn't exactly run him over entirely. This is the position that's going to change, if any, over the top of the hill here and into the bus stop chicane on the penultimate lap. Otherwise, they'll be waiting for the final attempt. It's Paul Clark on the defence. The slightly darker red, Graham Brown going around the outside, decides not to do it. But in my opinion, if you're going to not do it, you might as well not get alongside at all into the bus stop. You lose a lot of time. Brown did it well on that occasion. He didn't actually lose very much, but he's still 5th position. He'll have one more go at it on the final lap to try and get to 4th.
Yeah, he definitely tried, but he had a half-hearted attempt and then put himself all out of shorts. So it's kind of a little bit hard on what you actually do there. If you're not going to get alongside, just settling behind them and take your race in line as normal. Paul LeMay, Michael LeMay are chasing down Jamie Bird. Damien G, Phil Jocelyn still going at each other as they have done for the last 9 laps. And I expect they're going to continue to fight through the next lap as well, as these guys continue having this nice little battle right towards the back end, tail end of the field here. Welcome in, Phil. Sorry I haven't shouted you out as well. Welcome in, Brazil. Golden Walk for the victory. Now, if we knew who that was, it would be okay. We don't have a clue, so yeah, if you could just tell us who the Golden Walk is, that would be amazing. But Damien G, Phil Jocelyn, go on, having a right little go at each other as we just entered onto the last lap now, and James Barry, John McCutcheon for the final lap.
Yeah, this is it now. James Barry will have his best opportunity to overtake coming right up, although he's not even that close. 4 tenths of a second is not a small enough margin, I wouldn't argue, for him to have a go on the way towards the bus stop here. What does John McCutcheon do? He gifts the slipstream in aid of taking that inside line. What straight line speed James Barry has here as we go side by side to the bus stop chicane. He can't do it. John goes over the curb on the inside line there, and that may well be the move that seals it on the final lap. He retains the inside line, and that's been the only thing he's needed to do, really. He's not even had to go side by side with anyone at that chicane.
Yeah, I think the thing is, it almost reminds me, I don't know if anybody's seen a game called Tractor Chicken, and it was in the movie as well. Oh my God, what movie was it in? It was in with Kevin Bacon, where they were playing chicken with tractors. And this is kind of the same thing. John's on that inside. He's like, I'm going for it. So you're either going to play chicken with me and try and go around the outside, or you're going to back out. And every time he's gone remotely side by side with somebody, John McCutcheon, the other person on the outside has always backed out. And Barry's done the same, Maxwell's done the same, and it's paid off as John McCutcheon is going to take the win.
It looks like he will do. Into the final couple of corners. There's not a lot that James Barry can do here. It's going to be all about John McCutcheon, the 3-time champion, going to win again as he kisses the wall. He will salute the crowd and say, this one's mine. This is race 1 victory for John McCutcheon in the Radical Race Series at Watkins Glen. A good battle between Paul Clark and Graham Brown as well. Ends in a 4th and 5th place finish for them. Graham Brown flashing the lights. I have to say, well played. And Jamie Bird and Paul LeMay will just about get there to benefit from the reverse grid.
Oh, Damien G did get past Phil Jocelyn on the final lap. We'll have a look back at that. These guys have not left each other alone. I think this is absolutely amazing that they're continuing to scrap, even down here for 14th and 15th. We can have a look and see how Damien finally got the job done. It took him 9 laps, 10 laps, but he got it done on the outside there. Phil gives it up a little bit easy, but he didn't really have much choice, and Damien G does go through. So yeah, great little humdinger down the bottom of the field there. And we're just waiting for Chapman, Brown and Phil Glover with Paul Crabb to come over the line as well as we're in the final ones. There goes James Chapman, there goes Paul Crabb, Seth Brown in that lovely bright liveried machine, and then Phil Glover in behind him. I'm not too sure how happy Phil's going to be.
No, not sure either after that. It was Jamie Bird out of control through the bus stop chicane, who sent him around and into the wall, don't forget. However, at the front of the field, it was a race victory for John McHutchison. Yet another one to add to the list for him in his third appearance, 4 races this season. It's James Barry who came home second ahead of Luke Maxwell. Paul Clark and Graham Brown fought with each other for a lot of that race. They finished 4th and 5th ahead of George Gonzaga, who was very much on his own. James McRitchie made his way into the top 10 there. A 7th place finish for him. Last week's feature race winner, Mike Booson, will have a chance to do so from 3rd because he finished 8th. He will be behind Jamie Bird and Paul LeMay, who share the front row. Michael LeMay just missed out. David Beasley at 12th place as Robert Woodward fell through the field towards the ends. Damien G and Phil Jocelyn ran at the top 15. James Chapman on debut finished 16th ahead of those who had incidents. Seth Brown and Phil Glover through the bus stop on the first lap. And Simon Edwards and Paul Crabb on the run up to the bus stop on the middle of the race sometime. A pretty big accident between those two. And worrying signs as well for Simon Edwards, let's not forget. He's already missed 2 rounds of the series, where he scored 0 points, the first 2 rounds that is. He can't really afford to be having too many more rounds like this one.
No, he kind of needs to start getting on the pace a little bit. You know, we knew that obviously with the Sebring 12 hour, he was taking a break, he was concentrating on that. Just needs to start being Simon Edwards and you know, start getting onto the pace and start trying to get into the rhythm and flow again. And it's been a rough start. I'm hopeful that he can get back on it, but if he starts letting points like that slip, he'll be in trouble coming next couple of rounds there.
Yeah, could be, and that's going to be worry for sure. James Barry beat Luke Maxwell in that race, don't forget, and so that's just furthering the difference between those two so far this season. Although when we're going to start factoring in drop rounds around halfway through this season, I think John McHutson's going to be up there roughly 2. And Mike Booson's not even that far away either, though he will have dropped some points in that previous race. Let's see about race 2, though. Paul LeMay and Jamie Bird will start on the front row with Mike Booson and James McRitchie on the second. It will be George Gonzaga and Graham Brown next, alongside Paul Clark and Luke Maxwell. James Barry, along with John McHutchison, race 1 winner, in 10th position. And then those outside the top 10 who will start where they finished the previous race. Michael LeMay 11th alongside David Beasley, Robert Woodward and Damien G on row 7 ahead of Phil Jocelyn and James Chapman. It will be Seth Brown and Phil Glover next, alongside Simon Edwards and Paul Crabb, 2 multiple-time champions in the Radical Race Series, starting at the very back of the field. And maybe sobering thought for those two as they get things underway here from Watkins Glen. We'll see what they can do from back there as we get ready for the second race of the evening. A little bit longer this time around, 16 laps for the feature race in the Radical Race Series in Watkins Glen. It's time to go racing again.
Not sure if Paul LeMay jumped.
It's free wide though for 3rd place. As looking down the inside, George Gonzaga was hoping for everything. In the end, he backed out a little bit, and that was probably the sensible call. As we go up the hill for the first time, it was clean in race 1. What about in race 2? As it's a lot closer together up the hill this time. And they all do make it through, in fact. Now we'll go to the bus stop chicane. Everybody drafting off of one another. Paul LeMay trying to hold on from Jamie Bird in the lead, and he does. Top 3 will go in single file, but they won't in the midfield. It's side by side between McHutchison and Paul Clark. The race 1 winner already up to 7th place as Clark gets pushed back further. Luke Maxwell still in 9th position. James Barry is on a mission. He's in the top 5 already.
Yeah, Barry got an absolutely barnstorming start there, and I'm wondering whether or not Paul LeMay jumped the start. He looked like he moved just before the last light went out, and that was why I had that big intake of breath, because I was like, oh no, I think he may have just done that and just jumped the start. If he's got away with it, fair play, but it would have been very, very close for Paul LeMay, because there was a slight movement before that last red light come out. So whether or not he's going to be able to hold on to this position, we'll have to see. And if he has got away with it, fair play. But can Mike Booson take the second feature win of the season? Has he gone and done it? Can he do it as he's sitting in 3rd place at the moment?
Can we see another different feature race winner as well? We've had 3 different ones in the 3 races so far, including a driver who's not even here today, of course, Abdul Al-Amri, who is in 9th in the standings. He'll drop outside the top 10, though, with his absence here tonight. Here goes Mike Bousson down the inside, though, looking to replicate that success from 1 week ago. Down the inside of Mike Bousson, it may have worked. He is Mike Bousson. Down the inside of Jamie Bird. It's side by side up the hill. It's going to give James Barry a whole head of steam here. Where does he go? He's almost out of options. As he's looking to the inside, he'd rather protect his own place. He'll go down the middle. Well, James Bird is looking for all the places, and he's got them all. Second place for James Barry. This is unbelievable stuff from him. He's racing through this field already.
Yeah, he's sitting in second at the moment. He's now setting after Paul LeMay. He's not holding anything. He's not taking prisoners as James Barry. He is literally going for it. George Gonzaga, John McCutcheon, Luke Maxwell further back as well. These guys continually fight. Paul LeMay's opened up 2.4 seconds, but with the ever-charging James Barry there, it's going to be difficult to try and hold on to it. James was just very, very lucky. He had Mike Bousson and Jamie Bird alongside of him, because if they hadn't backed out, that would have been a 3 wide into the bus stop, and there would have been a very harsh conversation with the 3 of them there. Who would have been at fault for that?
Well, this has been unbelievable so far from James Barry, who's second place, 2.3 seconds behind Paul LeMay, who does have a decent chance of taking this all the way home and maybe being our 4th different feature race winner in this season so far. He was 10th place going into today in the standings, scoring an average of 40-ish points a race, which is what you've got to look at really at this stage in the season. For context, James Barry and Luke Maxwell, who are at the top of the standings, are scoring just over 55 points a race, somewhere close to 56. So that just gives you an idea as to what they're up to. Luke Maxwell, one of those drivers, of course, he's already up to 7th place now. He passes George Gonzaga at turn 1. John McCutcheon's made good progress, though. He's the one we're riding on board with at the moment, watching James McRitchie and Jamie Bird go side by side up ahead of us, but there'll be no change here. And I wonder whether now on lap 3 we're settling into the rhythm of a race that we saw a replica of in the sprint race a few moments ago.
Yeah, I want to point out one thing, and that is the fact that Paul LeMay's gap is getting bigger. It's not getting smaller. It's out to about 3 tenths at the moment. So this man is on it. He is on the mission already, and you can see here from what he's done from him over James Barry, 1.6 on lap 1, 0.8 on lap 2. Yes, Barry was coming through the field, I understand that, but now Paul LeMay has got the bit between his teeth. All he needs now is what's happening further back, and that is James Barry with Mike Bousson pulling him in. If Bousson gets him here and pulls him back in, that gap's only going to extend up front. So Paul's just got to hit every apex, keep doing what he's got to do, and rely on Mike pulling in James Barry, because that's what Paul LeMay needs at the moment, is a good old Barry fight and Mike Bousson fight.
He does need those two to go at it, and I wonder whether they will actually. I'm slightly sceptical, because they'll know the score here, they'll know what's going on, and so it's probably not worth fighting, and Bousson might well realise that here in 3rd position, as we've got McCutcheon down the inside of McRitchie down into turn 1, and he makes it through. Luke Maxwell will look to try and follow through as well as they go up the hill. Not sure what it is with overtakes at turn 1, but they're happening with increasing regularity now, as McCutcheon pulls wide actually over the top of the hill there to protect the inside for this right-hander, so that McRitchie has to go around the outside, maybe forces Maxwell into a move he doesn't want to do. He's half thinking about it. He's going for it fully this time and makes it through as well. A little bit late, but he's made it work, and he's up to 6th place as well, following John McCutcheon's footsteps.
Yeah, Gonzaga got really close to McRitchie on the way in there. McRitchie had to obviously not check up almost, but be a little bit slower than Luke, and literally brought Gonzaga straight in to the back of him. So George there did a great job to try and avoid everything. Simon Edwards is up 9, sitting in 10th place at the moment, so great job from him. But now McCutcheon's got Bird for company, who's looking to try and go around the outside of turn 8. I don't think he's going to be on there. John's going to be later on the brakes. He is going to get that job done. But now look at this. Barry and Bousson are only 4 tenths away. That gap up front is going down and up and down and up. It's been down to 2.2. It's been up to 2.7. So at the moment, the mate's holding station in somewhat of that middle section.
Yeah, it's still a good lead for Paul LeMay here. 2.3 seconds as the group from fourth place on backwards is increasingly... there's a lot of battles in it. What's the... I don't know what the word for that is. Luke Maxwell gets down the inside of Jamie Bird. It's turn one again. So many moves happening into here today. Not really sure why. It's not an option. You see a passing place there, but Luke Maxwell's got it wrong. Oh, he's gone for a spin and he's into the tarmac on the outside. Now, what's gone on here into turn one? A seemingly innocuous overtake down the inside, and he's spun the rear tyres up himself. He was helped eventually round by James Ritchie, who nearly sent him the full way round, but Maxwell now has got so much work to do. Oh, Jamie Bird. Oh, that's one less overtake for everyone to make.
Was that all on his own? No, it was, I think. I think he's hit the curb. He's either he's done what everybody else has done, not taking two... dude, you've got to either all or nothing. We talk about the turn at five at Road Atlanta. Look at the state of that car. We talk about the curb at Road Atlanta where it's all or nothing. And that one curb is either be brave, put it in an inch from the barrier, or leave it alone. Otherwise, that is the effect. But Simon Edwards now up 12, sitting in 7th place here. Michael LeMay's got Robert Woodward and Paul Crabb with Luke Maxwell behind, who's having a... Funny enough, we've got Jocelyn and Damien G behind him, who's resumed their little ding-dong from race 1 and now going to carry it on in race 2. So Damien G and Phil Jocelyn, I love this. I think the fact that they're still going at it down in 14th and 15th place is just absolutely amazing. No giving up here from any of the boys in the group.
Yeah, it's fantastic to watch, certainly. And they'll be continuing that, I would imagine, down in whatever position they find themselves here. But what work Luke Maxwell has to do from here. This is a big moment in the early stages of this championship, with James Barry still doing so well. 2nd place in what's been a good day from him. It could be another double podium for James Barry. What a great start to the season, but we have seen this from him before, haven't we? We've seen good starts to the season from James Barry. I remember it, maybe it was his first season overall. I remember it being James Ritchie's first season, because it contained that Spa race where he won on debut, of course, in the feature race. But James Barry was good in that season too, but only really for the first half. Couldn't retain it for the second half. Now, as we get further towards the summer and the end of spring, is James Barry going to be able to hold on to this form and continue scoring points at the miraculous rate he's doing at the moment?
Well, he's a bit like Tottenham at the moment, isn't he? Sets off really well, and then in the midsection it's all gone a little bit peaked on. And hopefully they'll come on strong at the end, but we'll find out. But that's where Barry's at. He's gone out full bore. He's done a great job right at the beginning. He cannot afford to teeter off in the middle. You know, he almost wants his bad spell over the next couple of races and then come back after that, right? Because we're on round 4. He wants it between 5, 6 and 7, and then he's going to come back over 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's what he needs. That's what you're going to do, because everybody goes through it. There's always a bad spell at some point for some of the drivers. Some of them get them out of the way early, some of them don't. And James Barry really needs to kind of almost have a perfect season. Can't afford to not have a perfect season, especially when he's got the likes of Maxwell, McHutchinson, Edwards, all sitting there, all capable of winning. He's got to do the same. He's got to go out and pull up his big boy pants and see if he can get through it this season.
I mean, in an ideal world, it would be a perfect season for him, and he'll hope to not have a bad run of form at any point. This is certainly not the start of it, but judging by his performance at the moment, we're more than a third of the way through this race, by the way. It's still James Barry and Matt Booten chasing for the lead. The real battles are happening behind this, though. Maxwell has recently overtaken Paul Crabb, but it took him quite some effort to do so, and now Crabb is under pressure from Bill Jocelyn, 12th place on the way towards the bus stop chicane. It's been overtaken. Jocelyn through into 12th place on that occasion. Not great for Crabb, although he has made some good places so far in this race, as has Simon Edwards, up 13 in this race so far. Now to 6th place after that crash in the opening race, which meant he wouldn't be involved in the reverse grid. He had to start from the very back of the field, and he's only a couple of places behind McHutchinson, ahead of Maxwell. It's a good recovery, all things considered.
Yeah, it is. Edwards has done well. Made his way through the field, up 13 places. You can see the gainers there on the left-hand side. He's sitting in 6th at the moment, up 13. The only one in the top 5 is James McRitchie to lose positions. Paul LeMay stationary where he is. Mike Bousson stationary. And Barry, who's just been coming through the field like a hot knife through butter, is up in 7th. Up 7 places, and he's continued to fight it on. But I can tell you what, Phil Jocelyn, Paul Crabb, Damien G, and Seth Brown are still fighting it out down in this middle section. Michael LeMay's just kind of escaped. I think he's gone into the pits. He has. But Jocelyn, Crabb, G, and Brown are still continuing their little scrap in the middle. This could be a nice little four-way, but I will pick up on one thing. Mike Bousson has got the gap down to James Barry to about 2.7 seconds, or 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, it's close battle up front and back here as well. As Simon Edwards goes through, and James McRitchie, I think that was, into the bus stop. McRitchie all over the curbs actually on that occasion as he tried to follow Edwards and couldn't. Clark really closes in as a result through the loop, but not close enough for anything to worry about. Oh dear, it's all gone on, I'm afraid, in the battle for 12th place, and it's 11th as it was, and unfortunately there's been an incident. It's free wide into the bus stop chicane. You can maybe see where this is going. So slight contact initially, but that's not the part that sends everyone off. That's Clark, who you can see there losing his rear wing after contact on the way into the bus stop.
Paul Crabb.
Crabb, did I say Clark?
You
Crabb,
did.
sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. There it is. There's the contact. Crabb.
I'm not
the first time.
Looking at that, right, I'm not quite sure what Paul Crabb was doing. Like, he comes all the way to the left, so he comes across Brown, gets an extra bump of speed because Brown's given him a nod. Damien G's then thought, well, he's going to go left, so I'm going to go up there, and then it all went wrong. But then David Beasley was also... Oh
dear, oh dear. The brakes there.
Where did that
find them?
Did that come from the fact that G had slowed up there to try and give Crabb time to come back on, and then in the meantime getting absolutely rooted from David Beasley? That's what.
Well, I don't think G was trying to let Paul Crabb back through again, but he certainly was slowing as a result of all this. Now let's see from Beasley's perspective, does he have much time to react? I mean, he's already in the corner by the time the accident's happening, and you can't do a whole lot about it when you're through the middle of the turn. It's a really big impact, and Beasley's back to the pit lane, which is no surprise. So is G.
That was
Crabb. All going on here, hasn't it? Mike Bousson is suddenly behind John McCutcheon, having dropped well back from James Barry, who he was with only a few moments ago.
Yeah, I can't. This is where it happened here, but I don't get. He made a mistake.
It's Mike Bousson corner again.
Yeah, same corner as last time.
In the lead.
Bless him.
Yeah. He's just won a race.
Yeah, I know. We can give him grief. He's won a race and then he ends up going off at the same corner. He lost a race that he could have won. But, sorry, Mike. I can't really say too much. He's only up the road from me. You know what I mean? If he come down and run me over, he's gone by an harvester.
We were engaging in some what I would describe as some Somerset banter last week, but whatever that is.
It's carrot country with loads of sheep. That's what it is.
Carrot country. So yes, we were hoping to speak to Mike a little bit later on. If he doesn't finish on the podium here, the chances will be diminished as Luke Maxwell goes past Robert Woodward. That very much looks like an agreement between two drivers, and Maxwell will continue in 9th position, but a good 7 back from James Barry, which is the real concern for him. The first really, I don't want to say bad race for Maxwell, but because it's not a bad race, he's in the top 10 again, but it's the first race where he's really had a mistake within it, which isn't a good thing. Woodward will let him continue in 9th place here by choosing not to overtake on that occasion. So interesting to see how Maxwell recovers from this in his first mistake of the season, really.
Yeah, I think it will. The thing is, you saw then on your screen the difference between going through the bus stop. Maxwell had put the bump right between the middle of the wheels and jumped it. Woodward was a little bit more to the side, and the right side went up a little bit. And that's the problem with that particular area, is if you don't get it right, both wheels end up coming up, both wheels lose contact, and as we all know, you can't really drive without 4 wheels on the tarmac, and then it just goes wrong. You bounce, it spins, it gets too much grip, and away it goes. One of the things I am interested in at the moment is what this man is doing over this man, and he is pulling out time from Paul LeMay. So much time, in fact. It's 1 and 2 to LeMay, and I think it's been 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and now 10 to James Barry. So LeMay could be in trouble. I don't know if he's going to survive the next 7 laps here.
Yeah, we've got 6 to go as we speak now, as they've just crossed the line. But I don't know where this has come from, really, because all of a sudden, either Paul LeMay is losing speed, which, judging by those times there, doesn't seem to be the case, or James Barry's getting quicker. I'm not sure which one it is, actually, but the gap has halved in the time that it's taken from Barry getting into second place to now, and it's only just over 1 second. When it gets below 1 and we start to get into that slipstreaming range, James Barry's going to close even quicker again, and that's going to be even more worrying for the race leader as he tries to hang on to a win.
Yeah, it is at the moment, and we will see how these guys continue on, and hopefully it should be going rather well for them. I've just got a brief little issue why I've got lovely internet spikes going on all over the screen at the moment, so bear with me while I try and correct that one there, Ewan. Fight fires in the background.
Yeah, speaking of fighting fires, Paul LeMay might be in a few moments' time. James Barry closing in very, very quickly indeed right now. Luke Maxwell also on the back of James McRitchie here for 8th place in the field. That's pretty much it in terms of fights for now. 5 laps to go now. Just over 0.8 of a second. He's going to start to benefit from the slipstream very, very shortly. Is James Barry. Another fastest lap of his race. Not a purple lap. Not the best of anyone, but his personal best. And that is a warning sign to Paul LeMay, who's been closed in by another 0.3 on that lap. Onto the back straight for the two of them. The first benefit of slipstream through this straight for James Barry since he made his way into second position, and what an impressive race it has been from James Barry. 9th off of the start. He was on the 5th row of the grid alongside John McCutcheon. Well, he's made his way through the field so quickly. He was in 5th by the end of sector 1. 4 places gained on the opening lap was so impressive. He's left all of those rivals he would have had behind him, and he's arrived at the rear end of the race leader alone with nobody else to fight with, which is exactly what you want. He's got to execute this quickly, though, because John McCutcheon will be coming as well. Yeah,
John McCutcheon's on his way now, and but it's really hard, right? Because Paul LeMay's got 2 choices now. Either kind of fights and goes with James Barry like an absolutely humdinger, and it, tries to hold on to that position, or plays the game and tries to bring John into it. The problem is John's still 2 seconds back, and he really be a lot closer. But I think Paul LeMay is going to be in deep trouble going down on that run into the bus stop.
Like it. We'll see what he does in terms of defence. Half a second was the gap that time around. That's not going to cut it for Paul LeMay. He needs to be quicker than that if he's going to hold on to this place. Is it going to be a case of defending for the final 4 laps, or is it going to be a slam dunk manoeuvre here for the championship leader? Barry homes in. He'll be shown the inside, in fact, from Paul LeMay, who might just be protecting a podium place as he here rather than going all out for a race win here. He breaks early. Oh! Barry goes down the inside and he's through, but Paul LeMay's into the wall anyway. He could have fought for the win there. He didn't, preserving a podium. He's lost the podium anyway as he goes into the wall at the bus stop chicane.
He's lost everything. He has lost everything. That car is, look at that. That is done for Paul LeMay, and I can tell you why that's done, and that's exactly, he should have straightened up. He should have fought. He hit the bump there, does what we said it did, and then bang, and then instantly steering, there's just nothing there for Paul LeMay. He don't know where to go, and he's now jumped back into the pits. That's literally opened it up for James Barry to take the win, and he's come from 10th into 1st. I don't think there's anything stopping James Barry now apart from himself, and his own mistakes. If he
furious with himself, will Paul LeMay, because he was letting Barry through there with a vision of holding on to a podium place, which would be a great result for him, of course, but he ends up in the wall and might become our third retirement of the day. Paul Crabb and Damien G are still in the pit lane after their incident at the bus stop chicane. It was the same incident, of course. Graham Brown still recovering from some of his earlier on. He's on the back of Seth Brown. But now, a slight change to the livery for Seth. Still the bright green, of course, but he has a bit more pink on his car these days than he did in years gone past. And it's Graham Brown who's looking for a top 10 here. 3 laps to go as these guys cross the line, and a top 10 not really out the question, actually. Graham Brown, who qualified well and has got good pace round here.
Yeah, he's going to go after Steph, and I can tell you now they're not related, and they're continuing. Right there, Graham's on the outside, Seth's on the inside going up through the S's. Are they going to run side by side? I'm expecting Graham to half slot in behind. He has done that. Now he's going to get the run down the back straight. Is he going to be able to make this through? Coming down into the bus stop. He's out quite early. Really is out quite early. Hopefully he's got a little bit more of a better pace. He has made it through. Graham Brown got the job done there as well. It was a big old coming from Ewan there in the background. That was quite a close one, but Graham Brown did make it.
Well, I certainly thought it was close, so make of that what you will. As he goes down the inside of Joe Jocelyn as well, and he's into the top 10 again. Justin's got to be careful not to let both Browns through here, and he does not. Seth Brown not able to follow, but Graham Brown now into the top 10, and that may be where he finishes the day. A good start to the season for him in terms of driving. He's only really been at one race so far this season as Graham Brown, and so that's what's seen him so far down the championship standings. Struggling to find him at the moment because I'm blind. At 14th, it says that he's been here for 2. I would debate that because while he did make it to the start line for one of the races, he didn't make it to the end of either of them, not the sprint nor the feature. So he effectively has only been to one race this season. He was able to pick up 39 points. It might be something a little bit less than that today, but nevertheless, a decent season in terms of speed from him. And this is the last battle we got on the track, really. Phil Jocelyn trying to hang on from Seth Brown. Jocelyn using the slipstream of Graham Brown to hang on ahead of Seth Brown.
Steph's there just trying to use Phil Jocelyn to get out through the S's, I think. I think this is going to be the run that if Steph's going to make the move, he's going to be able to do it now. Hasn't got long left. He's only got this one and one more. Jocelyn goes to the inside. He forces Seth around the outside. Is Steph's going to have a carry in a low speed? Not this time around. And Seth's going to have to hang it on. Can he get around the outside about a loop? Not this time either for Seth Brown. So he's got a long way to keep going.
Here we go. Is there going to be a lunge here? Not particularly deep braking zone, although it is downhill. Brown struggling to hang on to the inside. Justin squeezing him almost as much as he possibly could, and it's worked out well. He will hang on to 11th. Seth Brown, who goes to the outside, he'll try and swing in late apex. Good run out. Is it good enough? Not really. Justin gets good purchase actually on the exit there. I was kind of surprised about that too, because his line necessarily one you'd expect to get a good exit from, but he did, and he hangs on to 11th again, as it's a new fastest lap of the race so far from John McCutcheon, who goes on to the final lap in 2nd position.
Yeah, he's fighting it out with James Barry, isn't he? He's trying to put as much pressure on Barry as possible. You know, he's coming down, he's got it down at 1.8. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything from there. Depends if Paul LeMay really gets caught, but he looks like it's not Paul LeMay, sorry, in 16th is Jamie Bird. I don't think he's going to get caught though, and I don't think James Barry is going to lose this one, as he's got 1.6 seconds at the moment back to John McCutcheon. But it is the last lap, it is the legs wobbly stage for James Barry. He knows he's winning, he's just got to make sure he gets the end, and the last lap's always slower because you do know you're winning. You're trying to make sure you don't make any silly mistakes, trying to not, you know, get through the bus stop. You want to hit the apex. You've got, you know, you now got on to 6, and you've got through turn 7, tricky turn at 8, tricky turn at 9. You can quite easily keep it up if he gets it all from there. So he's just a little bit wobbly, a little bit nervous.
A little bit tricky for the race leader at this stage, but James Barry more than experienced enough to be able to do the business from here. It's going to be 62 points to add to his total, at least today. That's before we take into account any bonuses that he will have got throughout the day for no incidents. Difficult around here, though, to be fair. He's going to come around the final couple of corners, and the second race at Watkins Glen is going to go to James Barry, who takes his second feature race win of the season and becomes the first driver to win multiple times in feature races for season 2 of 2024. John Cutchin chased him all the way with a purple lap to end off, and it's going to be a last lap battle to end off too. Phil Jocelyn trying to hang on from Seth Brown, goes pretty wide through turn 9. What's going to happen into the final couple of turns? Brown not able to get in the inside for the penultimate corner. He'll be in the dirty air through there, and so he will have to settle for 12th place. Phil Jocelyn will hang on to 11th.
Yeah, just for good help, Seth Brown goes and hits the wall all the way out. So he was definitely trying. Wasn't giving it up without a fight, was Seth there, but great battling again. Phil Jocelyn having some amazing as James Chapman's going to come over the line in 15th. We're just waiting for Michael May, Phil Glover and Jamie Bird. Jamie Bird is coming around turn 7 at the moment. So James Chapman here to the series this evening. Steady evening for him. He's finished both races. I think that's all you can ask for on your debut.
Yep, and he's picked up positions as a result of finishing both races, which is all that can be said for some drivers today. Over 20 points to his name on opening day is not bad at all. And so he will come around the final corner now to complete his first ever Radical Race Series event. He can be very pleased with that, staying out of trouble on what is, for most people, a very difficult day. Unfortunately, Jamie Bird didn't quite do that. He will finish 16th in the end. In today's race will be that for racing tonight at Watkins Glen. Very engaging racing all over again in the Radical Race Series. Such an exciting series time and time again. And so you should join us more often and tune in next time. We'll be back again for the next round in a week's time. But it's James Barry who takes the win here by 1.4 seconds. Ahead of John McCutcheon. Mike Bousson rounds off the podium with Simon Edwards and Paul Clark rounding up the top 5. It's George Gonzaga 6th. We finished ahead of Luke Maxwell, who had a spin during that race at turn 1. Robert Woodward finished 8th ahead of James Ritchie and Graham Brown. Jocelyn held off Seth Brown to the end there for 11th ahead of Michael LeMay. Phil Glover was the first driver over a minute back, with James Chapman getting to the end of his debut event in 15th. Jamie Bird was the last driver on the lead lap. David Beasley and Paul LeMay battled to the line 1 lap down. Damien G and Paul Crabb never re-emerged from their crashes earlier on. So that is it for Watkins Glen Racing here tonight. We'll get the usual suspects in the interview waiting booth all over again, of course, but we normally do this at the end. We'll bring him in early at this time around and have a chat to Phil Glover, who's back again in the Radical Race Series. Welcome back, Phil. Good to have you with us. Good to chat to you again after tonight's racing. Entertaining for us, I've got to say. Enjoyed Watkins Glen, but how was it for a driver?
Yeah, not fantastic for me. But what I'm trying to do is make sure I'm keeping up my reputation as the underdog. I thought it needed a bit of work, so.
I mean, I don't know how to comment on that, to be honest with you. So there you go. I mean, what was it like in terms of racing other people around here today? We saw you in a couple of battles, a couple of incidents today, unfortunately, actually, when there was battles going on. It seemed to me that it was actually harder to overtake than it otherwise, or sometimes it is around this circuit.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I can't really comment about trying to overtake. Well, there was a pair of guys in front that I went down the middle of, or tried to go down the middle of, down the straight, and that didn't work out. Well, none of us crashed, but it didn't work out great. And then I think I spun and just lost the end of them. I think one of them might have been Damien, was it? The tussle at the back. The first race, I don't know whether I caused a problem or whether somebody hit me, but it pretty put me back at the back. It does seem a theme, doesn't it? I do seem to get put to the back pretty often. But hey-ho.
It does seem to happen a little bit. By the way, in the first race, I don't think the incident was your fault, actually. Although, as I always say with these things, I may be speaking too soon because we only saw it once on the stream or only once on a replay. So difficult to say for 100% certain, but we'll see. What's the outlook for the rest of the season here, Phil? How much are we going to be seeing you in season 2?
Well, I did get off to a good start. I missed 2 races because I've had a bit of a health issue. So, and I suppose that might just be causing me to be a bit slower than normal. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
We will. Hope to see you back again, Phil, for as much as we can for the remainder of the season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, well, but you guys as always, and everybody in the league, and there's 1 or 2 new people that are in the race tonight as well, and maybe over the last couple of weeks. So it's good to see new people in as well.
It really is. Phil, thanks very much for coming to chat to us once again, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, absolutely. You're always welcome. Cheers, guys.
Thanks so much. Phil Glover there chatting to us at the end of tonight's racing. We'll get him in at the start as we normally do at the end. Time to speak to the podium drivers, though, from the feature race, starting with the race winner, James Barry. Welcome in, James. Good to have you with us, race winner on this occasion. What a chat about the start, though, for race 2, because you were in 5th place by the end of the first sector, which was miraculous, really. Just how on earth did you get off to such a good start?
Well, I made a brave move into turn 1. There was Luke and Paul Clark on my outside, so I went up the inside of them, then got past George. He went a bit wide. And then, yeah, I was just being brave, especially as I'm on a single monitor at the moment. It's not fun when you have no idea where people are. You just have to trust that they're going to hold their line. And, yeah, the overtake that I did on the second lap, where we went 3 wide, that was ballsy, to be honest, and I'm glad the guys next to me kind of backed out and I managed to send it through.
Doing it the old-fashioned way with a single monitor, very, very good. Just what sort of a change has that been to get used to for not only racing other people, which you've already detailed, but just general driving, which would change as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, I've been surprised. It's actually been fine in terms of pace. So then the only disadvantage is obviously the peripheral vision. And yeah, as I said, I've just had to be brave, to be honest, because I know that I need to make these moves if I want to get these results. So I just have to be brave and hope for the best. Unfortunately, it's been working so far, but I do hope to be back in VR next week.
We'll see how that goes in that respect. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, James, before we let you go?
No one this time, but thanks a lot to everyone involved.
No worries at all. Congratulations on the win and the double podium, actually, tonight for you again. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Cheers, thank you guys.
Thanks very much, James Barry there, the winner of the second race tonight at Watkins Glen, to become the first driver to win 2 feature races in season 2 of 2024. One of those feature race winners joins us now as well. That was 1 week ago, but it's a podium for Mike Booson in the feature race here today. Welcome in, Mike. Good to have you with us. 3rd place on this occasion in the feature race, which is roundabouts where you started in that one, but you had to hang on from a lot of battles that were going on around you. At the time, there was a real train of about 10 all going on around you. How did you find the racing at Watkins Glen tonight?
Evening. Yeah, I had good pace. Qualied out of position, so it made my life a bit difficult in the sprint. I'd like a few of us not be taking a dangerous line through the boot or whatever we call it. And in the sprint, managed to obviously hit the bump wrong. I had to go around the wall and out again. And then in the feature race, which was even more disappointing, obviously, I was putting myself into a reasonable position for the feature. And I said, James, just go forward. Don't worry about me, because I thought my setup will come in later on and we can race later on. Just wanted to keep moving forward. And I was pretty confident that I'd be able to battle for the win, but again, hit that bump wrong and had to take a very cautious line back onto the track because I knew John was coming off himself. Couldn't be anything worse than taking out John. So we slowly slivered back onto the track and then sort of yeah, the only thing keeping me motivated there was Simon obviously stalking me slightly second and a bit behind. So disappointing, but still not the worst result in the world, I suppose.
Oh, exactly. On the podium again. If you get into a place where a podium is a disappointing result, well, then that says a lot, doesn't it? It says that it's going well, I
Yes.
suppose, in a way. What about the remainder of the, well, not the remainder of the season, but more specifically next week? Are we going to be seeing you at Imola?
Yes. I don't expect to miss any races this season, as I don't generally.
Oh, very good.
Imola, mixed bag of Imola, so don't expect anything too exciting from me, I'm sure. But you never know. You never know my luck.
Sometimes it can be very good or very not. So,
Yeah.
so we'll see how that goes. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
All of the RS community. Better say hello to James because I don't want to get him touchy to leave him out or anything like that.
Hey,
So,
I'm sitting.
there
here
we
just
go.
I'm sitting here quite happy, just chilling, listening to the sultry tones of your southern accent. You're digging at me.
why not? I got to have some little sort of bit of fun tonight, haven't I?
Yeah, I suppose you were the butt of the joke last week, so I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, then I don't know.
Go back and watch
it.
Yeah.
Next week's race or something.
Click subscribe. Go back to last week. Have a look.
Be more advertising than than we are.
Yeah.
But there we go. No, thanks very much for chatting to us again, Mike. Good to hear from you. Good to see you on the podium again, and hopefully we'll see you again at Imola.
Yeah. Speak to you soon, guys.
Thanks very much, Mike Booson, there, third place in race 2 tonight at Watkins Glen. And that will just about do it for us here from the east coast of America. It's been 3 American rounds in the opening 4 of the Radical Race Series. Here, James, time to go over to Europe, though, for the first of only one currently scheduled remaining on the calendar. We've already been to Rudskogen in Norway. Time to go to Imola in Italy next. We, of course, don't know where the penultimate round is going to be, but it could be the final European round in just 1 week's time.
Yeah, Imola's an interesting one, I think. You know, I don't mind Imola. Some people don't love it. Some people don't like it at all. I don't mind it. It's right. And it's the last Europeans before off to Australia, Brazil, Canada. 3 American ones on the back end. Barber, Sebring, and Road Americas. Yeah, but we'll see what happens where round 11 puts us.
Yeah, unsure as to where that's going to be right now, as I mentioned, and even how it's going to be decided. In previous times, it's been the reigning champion that has decided. We'll see what happens this time, and if it is the case again, then what Simon Edwards chooses, as he is the reigning champion, of course, for a 6th time here this time around. That's just about it from us, though. Thanks for chatting along with us and watching along Radical Race Series. Make sure you subscribe to the JPB YouTube channel for all the other racing that goes on throughout the week, because there is a lot of it. So go and check that out. I've been here alongside James Parfitt here this evening, and until we see you in 1 week's time over in Europe for the last time, it's goodbye for now.